Hey, what's up guys? We're back again with the best giant skeleton graveyard deck in Clash Royale that all the pros are playing. Whether it's pushing to the top of the leaderboards or winning the 20-win grand challenge, the best players in Clash Royale are all playing this deck. Pros hate losing because of bad matchups and not being able to defend their opponents. So when you've got hunters, zappies, fisherman to go and activate King Tower, and giant skeleton to make all of your opponent's units that are spammed at you go boom, this has got some of the strongest defenses in the game. Almost every graveyard deck with poison can never punish opponents in single elixir, because going for a graveyard, a tank, and a poison just costs a ton of elixir. But since you have arrows and snowball, you can quickly and cheaply eliminate bats, guards, minions, all of those annoying bait card distractions that crush graveyards and single elixir. Most graveyard decks have amazing offense like Giant Graveyard with Mini P.E.K.K.A always playing aggressive, or other giant skeleton decks with poison, they just sit back, relax until double. But this deck has got the best of both worlds, being able to play aggressive in single elixir, yet still being able to stop all of your opponent's bridge spam. Since this is one of the safest decks in the game preferred by pro players, I would highly recommend learning this for global tournaments, classic, or grand challenges. You have all cards unlocked in those game modes, so always use Skeleton King. But if you wanted to play this on ladder and you don't have Skeleton King unlocked, you can use Skeleton Dragons for more Fireball Bait, Tombstone or Goblin Cage for a more defensive deck, or you could use Cannon Cart for a mixture of good offense and defense. Let's go jump straight some games and assert dominance with the best giant skeleton graveyard deck in Clash Royale. Thanks to everyone that's using credit code SIRTAG to support the channel. All right, so jumping into this one, Tears of Sparta. Dude, you are going to be so demoralized when you figure out what our deck is. The fact that you go in for a P.E.K.K.A in the back to start off the game without knowing what our deck is ridiculous as well. I feel very comfortable going in for a Skeleton King and a Fisherman here and then just relying heavily on my Hunter to shut down your P.E.K.K.A. So I'm going to go in for a Graveyard here and then counter the P.E.K.K.A with a Hunter and see what you decide to do, because I don't think you have an answer to this. There's a chance you do. Maybe you're crazy. Maybe you're insanely OP. But I think your P.E.K.K.A is going to die. I think you're going to take damage from the graveyard. If you guys didn't know, you can fully shut down a P.E.K.K.A with a Hunter in that particular placement, and you'll get a good elixir trade. You'll get a +3 elixir advantage. A lot of people are like, Jake, why are you ever thinking that you can counter P.E.K.K.As without using like Skeleton Army or guards or, you know, skeletons for distractions? A lot of people just overspend all the time, and I refuse to do that. I always want to play better. I always want to get the most out of my units, and you guys are going to see that here first. Okay, so I think at this point I'm going to go in for a Fisherman, and that should be able to stop the P.E.K.K.A quite easily. It doesn't matter that much if he gets a bit of damage with the Magic Archer. I don't really care too much for that. I'd rather go in for a Skeleton King and then a Graveyard afterward, because the P.E.K.K.A doesn't get a hit, and then the Skeleton King tanks for the Graveyard. That's a mirrored up P.E.K.K.A. Okay, dude. I see what you're doing here. I see what you're cooking in your kitchen. You just want me to counter P.E.K.K.As and show a clinic to everyone. If you guys are tired of P.E.K.K.A, you can go in for Zappies here and then fully shut it down as well. I love that one Zappy decided to go on the right-hand side. It's like she was just completely and utterly sentient. She knew what she wanted, and she knew that I needed it.
I just finally know what I have to do.
The P.E.K.K.A does get one hit. It's not going to get two. And we're going to walk away with a very easy win. Dude, that's actually double balloon. What is this guy doing? He's freezing too. He is one wild child. Even if you get damage with one balloon hit, which I don't even know if you're going to get, it's not going to be able to take my tower. It's too funny. This is a comical game, because he has to defend against the Skeleton King too, and I've got 2 graveyards on him. And if you go for a P.E.K.K.A, spoiler alert, dude, that doesn't have the Mega Knight splash damage. You can't evolve that. That's not a Pokemon. It's going to get swarmed by skeletons, and it's going to be the saddest panda on this planet. All right, so getting into this one, I'm going to go for Skeleton King instead of the Giant Skeleton, because the Skeleton King costs less elixir. Not going to go and waste a 6 elixir investment right out of the jump. If this guy goes in for just a Musketeer, I think the Skeleton King is able to splash onto the tower too, so he needed to drop guards there. So very good start for us. We get guards out of cycle. We see Musketeer. Makes me feel like it might be an interesting Hog Rider cycle deck with Giant Skeleton. So if I can get him in a bad card cycle without the guards in his hand, how is he supposed to stop this? Oh, no. He's got Miner, so this has to be Miner Balloon with Giant Skeleton. Still extremely good for us. Look at that. The Giant Skeleton is going to encroach on his territory. He has absolutely no way of stopping it besides like a Fire Spirit, and then still taking a ton of damage from the skeletons. And it was scuffed. Like, if I had snowballed there and I had slowed down his tower, I think my Giant Skeleton would have connected to the tower. You guys let me know down below in the comment section. Do you think Should have snowballed there, or do you think I made the right decision? Anyway, he's going to go for a musketeer. He does end up sniping, which is very unfortunate for us. Well played on our opponent's end. I want to go in for arrows here just so we can damage down the giant skeleton, the musketeer, and also the mortar a bit faster. The snowball is going to be clutch, pushing away the guards. And the musketeer is going to lock onto my tower. Please just hit the musketeer instead of the guard. Thank goodness. I didn't know if my tower was going to target the guard or if it was going to hit the muskie. If it targeted the guard, I would have taken multiple extra musketeer shots for no reason whatsoever. But we skated on through and, you know, we're still alive. So well played to our opponent, making stellar counter pressure when we made a bit of an overextension. But it is what it is. You guys already know the deal with this deck. Slow roll giant skeletons, slow roll skeleton kings. And then when you get an elixir advantage or when your opponent messes up, then you're able to do a lot of damage to them. Also, one other thing that you can do with the fisherman is you can pull their giant skeleton away. So they're going to try to win a bridge battle here, like really decisively. You're just like, hey, I'm going to go and yoink that to the other side. I almost pulled the musketeer too. That would have been awesome. But yeah, fighting on our side of the map is extremely important because then our tower is going to help out. And then if my fisherman stayed alive, I would have been able to also kill the musketeer from that as well. Anyway, I'm probably able to kill it with an arrows is on top of the guards, maybe? We'll see if he does. Oh, he's got poison. Wow, I thought I was going to kill everything he had. Anyway, I'm able to drop another graveyard for 2 elixir here. No big deal. That giant skeleton is so annoying for him every single time because it pushes the miner off. The fact that he has poison makes this matchup way harder than usual. But we'll see what we can do. I'm going to go in for a fisherman. I'm going to go in for the hunter again. And then I think arrows in here is optimal so we can kill the guards as quickly as we can. With a hunter up close and personal, this is great because he doesn't have guards in cycle. Giant skeleton's going to tank for the graveyard, and then he has to poison. Every time that he poisons, he's going to kill the skeletons, but then the skeletons heal up my skeleton king at the river. So extremely important to realize, like, I'm going to get a lot of value here. He's going to giant skeleton. We're going to go and try to yoink it. No, if I had yoinked the giant skeleton on our side of the map, the skeleton king would have went towards the tower, and I would have just won the game. I should have dropped it slightly lower, so then it would have had more space in between the giant skeleton, and then it would have been able to win us that. So just going to giant skeleton again in front. I was hoping that he'd drop it in the safe spot. He did not. He can't poison that much because he's saving his poison on defense against our graveyard. So this game is really coming down to the wire, but I think I'll be able to win it if I play it well enough. So I'm going to giant skeleton to tank. He's going to have to go in for guards, so I'll pre-arrows. Didn't go for guards. I think he loses now. Yeah, so here's the thing. If you play against someone that's got a good answer to you, you just use your zappies and you retarget the miner if you need to. Whereas you can consistently go in for graveyards and just annoy them so they can't poison. If he has to use every single poison on defense, then he has no way of actually getting damage besides miner. So if we stop the miner with either a fisherman or maybe even like a zappies, he's never able to do damage. So I was down a lot, but a super easy comeback simply because I could go for graveyard for damage and this guy couldn't go in for poisons. All right, so we got a game against the Dark Sky Team Evolution. So dude, what are your cards going to be like? Are you just going to be like, wow, Miner and Mighty Miner, Knight and Mega Knight? I'm evolving my cards as I go. I wonder if Clash Royale is ever going to like super troll us and do like the Mighty Miner, because remember the Super Witch and how the card was really overpowered? I feel like Clash Royale is kind of keen on doing those type of ideas. It would make me happy if the Mighty Miner ended up being even stronger for once-in-a-lifetime opportunity challenge that Clash Royale throws out for, even if it's April Fools or something. Let me know down below in the comment section, if you could have one super card in Clash Royale, which one would you pick? This guy is going to go in for a Ram Rider. Unfortunately, this is not the best situation for me to be in. I'd love to activate King Tower here, but the Ram Rider would just die, so I don't feel like I can drop the Fisherman there in good faith. Good thing about it is I have huge counter push. I've got Giant Skeleton, I've got Fisherman. If you Electro Wizard, that's going to get yoinked. I wonder if that's good for you. Feels like it isn't. I'm going to go and drop my Skeleton King a bit earlier. Reason why I did that is because I knew that I would collect the souls from the Electro Wizard and all of his units, so it made sense for me to drop that as quickly as I can. I'm also going to Graveyard here as well because I want the Graveyard Skeletons to die, so then maybe I can click the Skeleton King ability and then get extra value. If that doesn't happen, maybe we're able to even do a ton of damage to the tower and the bandit, so, you know, I'll take that trade. Not too bad. I can one-tap everything. I can also go in for a Snowball and then go for Zappies, because if I didn't push the Archer Queen away, the invisibility would have ruined me. Okay, beautiful. I'm super happy that we're able to go in for the Fisherman finally to activate King Tower against the Ram Rider. The Ram Rider will always get one charge onto your tower, so just make sure that you're not expecting yourself to be able to like activate King Tower and save the day with your Fisher Boy, because it's not going to work out. All right, what do we do here? If I go for a giant skeleton or if I go in for a skeleton king, I think either of those are predisposed to getting, you know, Pekka or something along those lines. So it's better for me to go for the big bomb boy that's going to give me more value. Also, he is reluctantly cycling a bandit into us too, so he knows the bandit's forfeit. That thing is not going to stay alive. The archer queen will also go into the bomb. That's the reason why giant skeleton is one of the best cards in the game. You will always get value from it. Look at that. What are you doing? You're at 9 wins in a grand challenge and you're going to go and drop a ram rider into a giant skeleton bomb? Bruh, you got to get those eyes checked out or something. That's so nutty. I feel bad because, like, I mean, we've all been there. We've all misclicked or we've always made mistakes. Like, maybe he's just nervous or something. I don't know. That was extremely good for me, though. So whenever you're questioning life and you're wondering what you're supposed to do, just cycle a giant skeleton in the back and you can't really go wrong. So that's what we're doing here. If you went for Ram Rider, I would have went for Zappies, but I knew that the Fisherman was going to be able to counter that for less elixir, so why not? Okay, so this is the deck that we were expecting. It was Pekka, as I said before. I'd probably expect him to Pekka every time on the Giant Skeleton. Giant Skeleton crosses the river, so then we go in for the Graveyard and we get value. Because the Giant Skeleton is tanking for the Graveyard Skeletons that are on his tower. And then I can easily go in for arrows and then maybe even a Snowball here to finish it off. The Snowball is a bit risky, but if it kills the Electro Wizard, I'll take it. So then he gets less support when he Ram Riders me. Ram Rider should die. Unless he gets super, super lucky. I think that we can go in for Zappies and stop everything in its tracks and then Graveyard again. And I'm Graveyarding as quickly as I can so then we can maybe get some value with this Skeleton King. We want the Skeleton King to get some skeleton spawns. It feels nutty to be able to Graveyard twice. I actually do have 2 Graveyards and I refuse to accept anything else other than that. If you think it's not 2 Graveyards, you gotta get your eyes checked out like this man. It's nutty though. Like for 2 elixir, you just cycle a Graveyard on your opponent's side of the map and it's bombarding them from both sides. So I'm expecting him to go in for a Pekka. He did not drop the Pekka where I thought. He's letting me cross the river again. Yo, he's going to lose the Archer Queen again. And then the Zappies are just going to stun whatever he's dropping as well, which is really nice because we can kill it a bit faster. Giant Skeleton at the river does make sense because I want to be able to protect my Skeleton King so it doesn't die to the Pekka. If the Skeleton King survives, then I win the game. So I'm just going to wait and see if the Skeleton King can cross the river. And a Fisherman here. Wait, what was that Pekka? Did he know that I was going to Fisherman? I think the guy knew. He like predicted it so then he Peka'd weirdly so then it would get pulled. That was an interesting play because it stopped my stuff from crossing the river, but I'm already back to Graveyard because champions are overpowered and you cycle 3 cards and you're back to your card that you cycled originally. The champions fundamentally are one of the strongest cards in the game because of that 3-card cycle. Because you can't cycle multiple champions on the map, it always allows you to cycle back to your cards faster. All right, we got another one here. We'll see what's happening. This guy doesn't have a clan, but he's got a lot of friends in me with skeletons swarming every single side. Just gonna go for a Snowball because it's only 2 elixir. It's not gonna hurt me that much. And this guy isn't gonna cycle anything. All right. Usually when they're up 2 elixir, they spam you at the river and they're like, I got you. I got the elixir advantage. Anakin, I have the high ground. But I guess this guy's built different. If I Skeleton King right now, it's a 4 elixir investment. I don't really want to wait till double elixir and find out that this guy's got poison, tornado, and all that other stuff. All right. So yeah, if I'd cycle Fisherman behind my tower, I would have lost because he would have giant skeletoned at the river. My Fisherman would have pulled it to my tower and I would have just been dead. Fortunately, that didn't happen. I'm going to Giant Skeleton here, and I'm going to go for a Graveyard because I think that the Skeleton King pushes that closer to the tower. Usually, it pushes it directly to the tower. I'm surprised that that didn't work out. I'm actually disappointed and surprised at the same time. I really wish that that worked. Anyway, I'm going to click the ability here just so I can do some extra damage. If I can kill the Giant Skeleton on his side of the map, then I'm feeling very confident about my position of winning this. Especially since I've got arrows and I've got a whole bunch of other spells. Feels pretty good. Okay, not looking as good as we wanted it to be because I have to Snowball when there's a lot of skeletons that start to swarm me on my tower. So I'm going to Snowball now, and then I'm going to arrows all of this junk. Then I think I'm okay. So I played that really well, waiting for the last possible second with the Snowball because I had to take a ton of damage there. There was no way out of it. I didn't expect him to get such a good counter push, but it is what it is. I'm currently down a lot. I'm down 600 damage, and I don't really want to go on the same side as him anymore. We'll see how we can make this work. If I Giant Skeleton the other side, maybe we can make him freak out. I'm going to do this. Skeleton King Graveyard, and then I still have enough elixir for the King ability. Sometimes that's worth. I wonder what he's going to do, because I can Zappies. I don't think that's necessarily the best decision for him. If I Zappies here, I should be able to pull the Giant Skeleton. and then stop the Inferno Dragon as well. So for 4 elixir, I counter everything, or I should have countered everything. Wait, can I pull that directly to the King Tower? The Skeleton Giant, of course. That's what we're going for. And then snowballing the Inferno Dragon. As long as that doesn't hit my tower and it just hits the King Tower, then I'm okay. I don't know if I dropped it in the right spot. Because we're playing against Graveyard, right? I activated King Tower. That should put me in a winning position. I did definitely outplay him there. Let's see if we can make this work. I'm going to go in for a Giant Skeleton as well. And then maybe even go zappies, but he's going to go in for a Fireball, so it's not worth. I'll go in for this. Giant Skeleton's going to go and die, and it's going to kill all this stuff, so that's well worth it. And then King Tower activated. I can play a lot more aggressively here, so honestly, I can do this. And then Snowball as well, just to kill the zappies and slow down the tower. It's worth it for sure. Like, almost 100% sure. And then this Giant Skeleton should splash onto... Yeah, it's going to splash onto his stuff. The Skeleton King is broken. It splashes through all of his stuff, so very frustrating to play against if you're on his end. Okay, so he's going to go all in on me. Not going to work because we'd already activated King Tower. I'm going to go in for this just in case because I think he's going to Fireball. I want to make sure that we are able to stay alive with the Snowball. And then... Yeah, I mean, he's going in the same side as us, so that's going to be in my favor as well, so I'll take that trade. Giant Skeleton is coming down, so I can't cross the river here. That was a very smart decision on our opponent's end. But at the same time, I can fisherman, so then it dies like far enough away so my stuff crosses the river eventually. And the only thing that gets caught in the path is the fisherman. The fisherman that was so noble and so nice, saving the rest of our units, gets caught in the free fire. Alright, so I'm going to go and click my ability, so hopefully I can win this interaction. I don't win it hard, but I do get a good trade with this guy. I think it's going to get a hit. Oh, he fireballs and freaks out. Yeah, I thought that would definitely get a hit. It didn't happen. No fireball in cycle, so I know that I can go in for a Giant Skeleton here and then Graveyard, and then when the skeletons start to swarm him, I can arrow again on the zappies or whatever else he drops. It's really obnoxious that he's going to go in for the Skeleton King like that because... It's one of the hardest cards for us to stop because I can't necessarily arrows it or anything. But because I activated King Tower with that one really good fisherman transaction, he got outplayed once, and then that's all it really took. Because notice how my King Tower is able to focus down all of his skeletons, and then he just doesn't get as much damage as we do, and I don't even have to go in for a Graveyard with a tank. At higher levels, like this guy's obviously pretty good. He stopped my Giant Skeleton from crossing the river, so I wasn't able to have a Graveyard tank. So I had to go in for more naked Graveyards without a support, without a tank crossing the river to tank for all of my Graveyard Skeletons. Pretty easy win. Glad that we were able to make that King Tower activation. Let's bounce on the next one. All right, so we got a game against someone that loves Mega Knight in their name. So if you want to go and drop a Mega Knight into a Fisherman, into a Giant Skeleton, and a Hunter, you're going to be very upset with yourself. You're never going to get a good elixir trade. I think Mega Knight after the buff became a lot more common. And if you guys hate playing against Mega Knight on ladder, this might be the deck for you. If they've got Mega Knight plus bait cards, you just arrow and snowball away their Dark Goblins and their bats. And then you just kind of ruin their game. Like, look at this. This guy's going to go for bats on defense against Graveyard. Usually, you're going to just take the L if you're a Graveyard player. And you're going to be like, oh, man, really shouldn't have Graveyarded in single elixir. But this deck operates a bit differently. You can get a lot of value in those type of situations. I'm going to go in for a Skeleton King here as well. And people might be like, why are you ever running Skeleton King in this deck? You don't have any other bait cards. You don't have a Skeleton Army. You don't have bats. Well, when you go for a Graveyard, you're going to be able to collect all the souls when your Graveyard dies. So you can expect your skeletons to die because your opponent's going to just counter them since they're all on their opponent's tower. They can't let those things thrive. Also, a lot of times the bait cards that your opponent uses to counter the Graveyard, that's going to give you a lot of benefit as well. So just keep that in mind that no matter what happens, Skeleton King is a very valuable card in this deck despite having all these individual units on your side that don't necessarily pair extremely well with the Skeleton King. Because you got that Costco value pack of Graveyard, it'll pop through. Also, this guy uses Cannon Cart, one of the most annoying cards in the game.
Most annoying creature ever to cross my path.
Aww.
Does really, really well against Giant Skeletons. Does extremely well against Hunters and Fishermans. So we want to go and yoink that to our side of the map if possible. So I'm going to go and try to do that quickly as we can. So then the Cannon Cart will get damaged down by our tower and our Hunter. And then if you go in for a Miner, we can stop that with a Giant Skeleton. And then the Hunter should take the targeting from the mortar, so you're not able to get any damage with the mortar. It should just hit the Giant Skeleton now and not hit my tower. Unfortunately, I can't necessarily get as much value as we were hoping. Ooh, this is really good. All arrows on that. I mean, I kill the guards now, and the Giant Skeleton's going to get closer to your tower. Wait, he doesn't have anything targeting the Giant Skeleton. Are you serious? Are you serious? You got to be joking. That's the thing. That thing needs a huge nerf. Out of every card in Clash Royale, I feel like that is the best card in the game that is not a champion. I run it in all my decks that I can, as you guys already know, and that's his first bit of damage. Doesn't it feel pitiful to only get one mortar shot the entire time, and you're probably celebrating that and then realizing that your tower is like half my HP? Yeah, that's kind of how Clash Royale works sometimes now. Alright, so we can go in for arrows here as well, and we can snowball and let's walk away with a very dominant W. As you guys can see with this deck, I am not messing around. We are straight up messing people up. If they rely on Dark Goblins, Bats, Guards, since you have double small spells, you can just throw them out spontaneously, frivolously, and spend your elixir lavishly as your opponent just dwindles down to the depths of despair and absolute poverty with no elixir to be able to stop your stuff. Like, subscribe for more daily videos, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.